Story 1. In 10 years of dealing with table games, I've seen people lose a lot of money until they cried at my table. Some people sat at machines and were still there the next day when I came to work, smelling terrible. A regular always brought her disabled child in a wheelchair and placed them next to her while she gambled for almost a day each time. I had a man with dementia at my table, and even with complaints, they still allowed him to play. He could barely make hand signals and kept forgetting we were in the middle of hands. It didn't help that he was tipping the beverage server generously, so he was overly served with alcohol. Reports on these individuals should have prevented them from continuing this behavior, but nothing ever changed. The worst incident was a few tables away from me when a man's girlfriend tried to get him to leave. He became so angry that he attempted to choke her right at the table. He fled from security into the woods behind the casino and took his own life. Story 2. Tuesday mornings. Barely reopened from the 4-hour weekly cleaning, and the folks on Social Security are already in, playing penny slots with the $10 left over in their budget. Story 3. I worked at a casino over a decade ago, but here's mine. Somebody won a small jackpot, something like $2,000. When checking her identification for tax paperwork, it was discovered that she had put herself on the state's problem gambler self-exclusion list, which meant the casino was obligated to remove her from the building without paying her. She wouldn't have been allowed in the building if she had been recognized. While double-checking, the manager downloaded an updated list. We checked against a local copy that was sometimes a few days out of date, and it showed that she had removed herself from the list with sufficient notice, so the jackpot was paid out. She proceeded to put every penny of the jackpot back into the slot machine and also made a couple of visits to the automated teller machine. At the end of her stay, she asked the cashiers if she could be put back on the self-exclusion list. Story 4. My first December working in the casino where I am still employed, I was on a blackjack table, and a man sat down and placed $1,565 on the table. He told the dealer, "Dealer, my family is about to have a great Christmas or no Christmas." 20 minutes later, the money was gone, and he asked the dealer if she was happy with herself and how well the casino must be paying her. I never saw the man again, as our casino consists of 95% repeat customers, so I would not be surprised if that actually was his Christmas money. Story 5. I didn't personally witness it, but in late 1999, I helped open the Motor City Casino in Detroit. A month later, an off-duty police officer lost everything and ended his life on the floor. Story 6. I was driving cross-country for work and stopped in West Memphis for the night. I went to the casino to burn a few hours. From my machine, I saw a lady playing slots with tears running down her face. I heard her scream and looked up to realize the machine hit zero, and she started bawling uncontrollably. She was screaming that she had nothing left and to please have her money back. She got removed by security. I hit for $150 and cashed out, but the walk to my car was terrifying. I'm not a target demographic for mugging, but the desperation on people's faces was noticeable. Never going there again. Story 7. Ex-casino worker here. I saw way too many people spend ridiculous amounts of money on gambling. I've seen little kids asleep in chairs outside the casino floor because their parents were busy gambling. A gentleman had a heart attack at a poker table, and other gamblers were upset because we had to stop the games so emergency medical services could come. The saddest one, though, was a lady who wanted to cash a check made out to the electric company. She wanted to know if she could scratch out the company name and write in the casino name. I told her we could not do that. Story 8. Back when casino boats used to actually cruise the river, every Friday night there was a guy who would grab a $1 poker machine, feed a $100 bill, lay his face down and hit the maximum bet. Rinse and repeat 1, 2, 5 times. Once we saw 10 times. Never saw him win a penny. Cruises were 1 hour and 15 minutes. He took about 10 to 25 minutes max, would get done, and leave the machine to take a seat by the gangway exit. Story 9. I worked a whole host of positions in casinos over the course of 6 to 7 years. In that time, I saw a lot of really funny, really sad, and really frustrating things. The one that hurt me the most was seeing the father of one of my high school friends coming in over the course of the years. He started showing up every now and then when I was 19 and had my first job there. He was an older man in his late 50s to early 60s, but still pretty healthy, had a lot of money, drove a nice car, had a nice house, and even owned a small plane that he flew recreationally. Slowly but surely, he was coming in more and more frequently, though. He started gaining more weight, looking more pale and sickly, and drank almost constantly. Turned out that his home situation was going downhill fast. He and my friend, his son, had a massive falling out, and eventually, his wife left him and took their daughter with her. He had nothing left but his money and himself, and even that didn't last. He was never winning anything and had to have lost millions in that time frame. He was in the building for days at a time without moving from his machine. Because of that and the amount of alcohol he was consuming combined with the lack of sleep, aging body, and constant secondhand smoke exposure, his health was quickly plummeting. He was always nice and happy to talk to anyone, but even that didn't last as he started snapping at every little thing and not interacting with anyone at all. I left that job years ago, but every now and then my family will go back to that same casino and see him at his same machine looking like a husk of his former self. Even now, that is heartbreaking to me. Gambling addiction is a dangerous, horrible thing, but you never really realize just how bad it is until you see someone you've known your entire life driven to the very brink by it. Story 10. Worked valet at a casino. One night we got the car, and they dropped it off. Left the keys in normal here. I hopped in to move it, and it smelled like death. I moved the car and informed my supervisor. He called the police as it was the smell of a decaying body. The police came and we opened the trunk, which was full of groceries from 4 months ago, in the Missouri summer heat. It was chicken. They came to claim their car and were told not to park here in Valet again. They said the person who normally carries their groceries up to their second-floor apartment left, and they don't have anyone to help them anymore. So now they go to casinos and eat out every night. They didn't have money to do this, no idea where it came from. I will never gamble or go to a casino after working valet those years. Many more stories. Story 11. Casino worker here, winning big can ruin your life. It's like a drug, and I have seen so many people try to chase that high again. They start at higher denomination machines, and slowly over time, you see them move to $1.50, 25 cents, and eventually down to the lowest level. Story 12. I spent a lot of time in the casino. My dad had a gambling problem. It's sad to watch your hero fall, but he pulled himself out and away from that. But the things I've seen, I saw a blind Chinese man come in with his bodyguards to help him gamble. I've seen couples blow their entire money and just stand there looking at each other, half in tears. I sat next to a woman who lost it all and just couldn't bring herself to get off the chair because reality wasn't setting in. My dad used to really hit it big, and once he would make me play on one machine while he played on the other. His was losing and mine started winning big. I got shoved off that seat so fast. I don't miss that place. It's full of greed and misery. Story 13. We had a roulette and blackjack table room that was connected with a nightclub I worked in. There was this guy who spent more money than I made in 2 months in just a few hours. He wasn't drunk. I tried to get him to stop playing, he was the only player at the table. But he just said he is lonely and playing blackjack was the only thing that made him feel okay. He was far away from home. I think he was Russian, and just really, really sad. It was tough to watch. His face looked just as vacant when he left as when he started playing. So sad. Story 14. I am not a casino worker. I was at a bar on the casino floor, and an elderly man in a suit and hat sat down a few seats over and started talking to the bartender. They made small talk, and then he mentioned that his wife of 50 years had died of cancer a few weeks beforehand. He said they never had kids and not many friends, so he took all the savings they had and came to Las Vegas to have some fun until the money runs out. Then he'd be going home to be with his wife. The bartender never followed up on it, but just kind of let him drink. I just awkwardly kept scrolling on my phone. What do you even say to that? Story 15. I had a customer walk up to me as a slot attendant with 4 quarters in his open palm. He asked if I had any idea about any machine that might be ready to pay out. He explained he had driven a little over 2 hours to get to the casino, and this was literally all the money he had left. He hadn't bothered to fill the gas in his car, and it didn't have enough to get him home. The best I could tell him was one particular bank of machines had several decent payouts, but that was about all I could say, as even slot attendants don't have much idea when any particular machine is going to hit. I got called off to another customer. I don't think he even won enough to buy some gas. Story 16. A couple of jumpers have jumped off the top of the parking garage every few years. A man hanged himself in the bathroom. Security and maintenance saw a lot more than I did as a slot technician. I just heard about it. I didn't walk in on it. Story 17. When I was single and childless, I had a lot more money, so I would frequent the casino a lot. Once, I saw an infant in a car seat covered in a blanket, moving around in an unattended car in the parking garage. Security had already been alerted, and the parents were found inside at the slot machines. They were arrested and made the news that night. Story 18. Not a casino worker, but still a sad story. Managed an apartment portfolio decades ago, and one of the properties was in Las Vegas. Keep in mind that this was before the days of paying your rent online. We had a zero cash collection policy, but the manager of the property told everyone it was lifted for the month to help boost our collections. The perfect storm happened on a Friday that aligned with a lot of paydays. She collected about $80,000, roughly $150,000 in today's dollars, in cash for rent, and then went to the casino and put it all on red. Her thinking was that she would double it, then deposit the $80,000 on Monday, and nobody would ever know the difference. She did not win. Monday comes around, and I see that the money didn't get to the bank, so I call the property. Nobody has seen the manager. Alarm bells immediately ring in my head. I fly to Las Vegas. We eventually found her at someone's house and called the police. So stupid. Story 19. Oh man, I have a ton from my 15 years as a casino manager. But I'll just write a few and come back later. A woman who was an anesthesiologist assistant hit a bad beat jackpot at a 1-2 no-limit poker table for around $120,000. For non-poker players, this is the lowest stakes no-limit hold'em game offered by most poker rooms. The buy-in range was from $100 to $300 minimum and maximum at our room, so by poker standards not terribly high. After she hit the jackpot, she started playing the bigger games, first 2-5 no-limit, $200 to $1,000 buy-in, and then moving up to 5-10 no-limit, $500 minimum, and I believe at the time it was no maximum. Next thing you knew, she was out playing in the high-stakes blackjack pit, playing $100 a hand. She got bumped up to a black card quickly from all the blackjack she was playing. Fast forward about 4 to 6 weeks, maybe 2 months tops, and we don't see her around as much. A few players asked if we'd seen her, and a couple let it be known that she borrowed money from them and hasn't repaid it. She started showing up late at night wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses and playing slots. Shortly after, security determined that she had been living out of her car and sleeping in the parking garage. The fall went quick. It was just like all the lottery winner horror stories I'd seen on TV but playing out in real time. Story 20. Former casino worker of 20 years. I've seen a lot of things, but this one stands out to me. I was the games manager on shift, and there was a lady in her 40s playing blackjack. She had been there a few hours and had made quite a few trips to the automated teller machine, and her buy-ins were getting into the thousands of dollars. I was doing paperwork in the pit when a dealer called me over while the lady was on another automated teller machine trip and said she was crying just before. I kept an eye on her, and after she lost a few more hands, I could see the tears start, and she was silently crying while playing. I went up and, as discreetly as possible, asked her if she was okay and offered help through our Partnered Addictions Help program. She looked me right in the face and got mad at me for asking and told me she's fine and to leave her alone. She was making staff very uncomfortable at that time, and it was obvious she was crying more and more as she continued to play and lose. I made the decision to ask her to leave for the night and covered her cab ride home. I tried again to offer her information to organizations to help with her gambling again, but she was still not interested. Addictions are heartbreaking to see, and I really hope she was able to get help. Story 21. Not a casino employee, but I used to work at a bank. Had a customer asking about something on her account, so I was reviewing her statement and saw these frequent $2,000 withdrawals at the casino nearby. In the one statement I was looking at, there were over $10,000 in withdrawals, and this customer's total account balance was somewhere around $60,000. I started going backward in her statements and found she had sold a house and received something like $700,000 less than a year ago, and had steadily gambled it almost all away, month by month. It was one of the most depressing things I saw there, which is saying a lot at a bank. Story 22. My dad was a security guard at a casino for 15 years and he has stories. When he started working there, the chairs at the slot machines were made of cloth. They had to change them to vinyl because people would not get up to go to the bathroom, and they would urinate and defecate all over the chairs. People would sneak their kids into the hotel in luggage when children were not allowed. Others left them in the car in the parking garage. One guy took a loan out against his house to gamble and lost it all. He dropped dead in the casino. People would literally spend days gambling in the same clothes. People would beg for money at the exits of the highway, pretending to be homeless, and use the money to gamble. I could keep going. Edit. The casino my father worked at did not allow children on the premises, period. If yours does, then good for you,